You gotta check this out. It'll knock you out.
She OD?
I choked her out maliciously.
Well, she OD.
Exactly. Anything you want to talk about, don't want to talk about?
I'm an open book.
Word.
Alright.
Definitely full blown chaos.
FBC.
Word.
Rolling.
Welcome back to another fun-filled edition of Stone Cold TV, brought to you by Jaeger. Today, I am sitting here with Hank III. He's got an incredible concert ready to go off tonight at the Roxy in Buckhead, Atlanta, Georgia. How you doing today?
Shaking it off, getting ready to do it all over again.
A little hungover?
Every day.
What is the worst hangover story you have? Like on your deathbed, ready to slit your wrist.
The worst hangover story, I thought I was taking Valium, but we were actually taking Haldol, and I lost control of my jaw and lost control of my tongue. So my jaw started getting tighter and tighter like a vice, and my teeth were about to break. So I had to go to the emergency room. They shot me up. The side effects went away. I went out on stage. I was only about to play for 40 minutes, and then my jaw started locking up again, and I had to stop the show.
What city was that?
I can't even remember. That was like 1997. So,
Nice.
but that's the scariest fucking hangover I've ever had.
Is that standard? Just go out, get wasted, fucked up?
Not really. I mean, when I'm really playing a show, it's 2.5 hours long, and I save my partying for the stage. But I mean, it's a lifestyle that I choose, yeah. But when you work for me, you got to be a hard worker. And getting buzzed and drunk's part of it. But if you're too much of a junkie wastoid, you ain't gonna last in my crew.
Right. Yeah, you've got a lot of projects going on, speaking of hard workers. You've got not only Ass Jack, but several other things. Why don't you talk about some of those projects?
Arson Anthem is a band with Mike Williams from I Hate God, Philip Anselmo's on guitar, a kid named Colin on bass, and I'm on drums. We're finally playing some shows in New Orleans and Nashville and Little Rock, Arkansas from like December 13th to 15th. I got a side project that's called Attention Deficit Domination that's more of a stoner project. Hopefully one day we'll be hooking up with Matt Pike from High on Fire and Sanford from Buried at Sea and other guys like that. And the Unholy Three is more of my doom, kind of darker, singing in the dark, spooky voice kind of thing. So,
Right on.
trying to keep busy.
Yeah, I guess that's enough to keep busy. Now, you grew up kind of different than everybody else. How did you...
How so?
You know, like, I'm from the country, too. So,
Okay.
I mean, you know, like, we're here in the city in Atlanta, so not a lot of people had that.
I lived in Atlanta. I only was raised in the country like 4 months out of the year.
Yeah.
But in reality, I was just another dude. I went to public school. I was never really around my dad. I only saw him like once or twice a year, but I was raised in Nashville. I lived in Kennesaw, Dunwoody, Dorville, Roswell, and Charlotte, North Carolina. So I had a pretty normal upbringing besides listening to heavy metal and dark music like that and having a mother trying to burn my records and keep me out of the music industry.
I think that's everybody's mother and dad. Now, you said that you moved around a lot. Was that hard for you growing up?
Not too bad. I mean, my stepfather worked for NASCAR, so that's why I was kind of
All over the place.
on the go a little bit. But I've always been kind of a loner, and music was my therapist and psychiatrist, and I didn't need no friends because I had music.
Right on. Now, were you involved in anything else in school or growing up?
I was involved in trying to stay away from school as much as possible.
I think, once again, that's normal for
Yes.
every kid. What kind of was your turning point when you just started into the heavy metal and all of that? When did that start?
That started when I was about 12 years old because of 88.5 here in Atlanta used to have these punk rock hardcore radio station or hours, and you know I'd play Dead Kennedys, COC, 7 Seconds, and all that shit changed my life. And I was always a drummer, and once I started hearing that kind of music, it just took me to a whole new level, and I never grew out of it. You know, a lot of people said it was a phase or whatever, but I still listen to that stuff religiously every day. So Atlanta 88.5 is what changed my life.
That's awesome. Now, you've got all these projects coming up. What do you do in your free time when you do have free time?
Run the dogs, detox, and get ready to do it all over again. I mean, that's that, and try to be creative. You know, I'm having to be a fucking businessman more than a musician nowadays, but that's it. Looking for people to help me out. If there's any good drummers out there, fucking hit me up. I need a country drummer and a badass blast beat drummer, so I'm looking.
Well, make sure to contact him. You can do that through MySpace?
MySpace, the personal page, not the music page. So
do you get a lot of, like, you check that yourself and you get a lot of
self-promotion? I mean, that's it. I mean,
but if I were to contact you through your MySpace page, you would contact me and it would be you. It wouldn't be one
me
of the people.
On the personal page, not the music page.
Right on.
Yeah, that's me scanning through all that shit and, you know, trying to reply. Yeah, we're playing here. Yeah, we're going on at this time, and, you know, I try to hang in there.
So, are you single nowadays, or are you seeing somebody, seeing several bodies?
I'm married to the road, you know, and yeah, there's a price that you pay when you're married to the road. You know, I got an old lady, but she knows what the fuck's up.
So if a chick thought you were hot, she came to your concert, she could approach you and you wouldn't...
What's it about? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll? Always.
So if someone were to approach you at a show, girl, female,
yes,
are you pretty easy to talk to? Because
if they say the right things, you know. I mean, I always say...
I want to get in your pants. Hey.
I always say hello to everybody after every show I do. After this show, I'll be at the merch booth and, you know, doing my thing. And if someone says the, you know, boom, boom, have a little patience, and then we can have a little fun.
Right on. Now, what's one thing in your life right now that you would want to take out that's either stressful or just some bullshit you don't want to put up with right now?
The business and the lawyers. That's the only buzzkill of the whole situation. So, you know, it's all about playing music to me, and I've never been a businessman or a lawyer, and that's the worst part about it, knowing that you're getting fucked in many ways and not being able to do too much about it.
Now, I know this is going to be pretty hard to do, but if you could take music out of your life, what do you think that you would do instead?
I'd be working on a farm, or that'd probably be it. I'd be working on a farm, living on a mountain, putting in garage doors. That's what I used to do. Or, you know, fighting the fight to legalize pot for all the farmers out there that are losing their land because they can't afford to have a crop nowadays since marijuana is illegal. So, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say.
Yeah, it is hard
Shelton,
to take something...
my first name means farm boy, so I'm sure I'd be back to the green.
Right on. Now, you've got several friends in the business, and you've traveled and played a lot of shows with a lot of different bands. Who do you think is your favorite band thus far to tour with, whether it be sound and how you guys clicked or party-wise?
Party-wise, there's so many out there, it's hard to imagine. American Head Charge was pretty off the hook. And I'm talking about our boys from Brooklyn, Full Blown Chaos. That was badass. You know, raging every night, drinking the Jaeger like crazy. Just getting along, watching people's minds get melted. Having Psyopus, this band from Rochester, New York, tour with us. Was badass, and some guys you just don't see that much. We're out there touring, but we just don't get to hang too much. But and fuck, there's so many. Not even talking about Super Joint or touring with Philip or Mike Williams.
Give me a fucked up crazy story from one of them that you can remember.
From one of the bands.
Yeah, like one night that you can remember. So I'm sure there's worse ones out there that you can't remember, but one that you can remember.
Actually, I've never blacked out in my life. That's
Really?
a curse of mine. I can't let go. I mean, no matter how much drugs or alcohol I drink, I can't let go officially. So, I guess being in a van in a bad side of town and it accidentally caught on fire and then we had to jump out and then we're stuck in a tough neighborhood with the wrong colors on, fending for our lives. So,
And who was that with?
that was with a band, I can't say their name.
Who will remain nameless.
Yeah, I can't bring that one up because
So, with all your future projects coming up, which one are you working on the most right now to get started and get going? And
attention deficit domination's been taking up at least 2 to 3 years of my time because I'm playing everything on it and getting it there. Arson Anthem, I'm still just trying to keep the drums up, and the country, you know, is an ongoing process. It's never ending. So I would say between country and Ass Jack and Arson Anthem and ADD, those are the main ones that's really whooping my ass right now.
now, for the future with all those projects, is there anything that we can be looking for coming out soon with any of them?
Arson Anthem will come out in 2008. The new country stuff will come out whenever the courtroom battle is over, and Ass Jack will come out whenever the courtroom battle is over.
Now,
So
what's the deal with all that? I heard you talking about it earlier.
it's legal stuff that I can't really talk about because I'm breaching my contract if I say the one wrong thing.
Right.
But it's a record company that's holding me back. Simple as that. You know, I've had 3 albums out in 11 years, so do the math. And I've released 5 to 7 bootlegs on my own and legally been forced to stop selling music. So I'm stockpiling it, recording, and hopefully in the next 2 years I'll be able to put out what I want the way it's supposed to work.
Now, when you do sit down and write music that you're gonna perform, is it all different processes, or do you just kind of got to get in the zone and like it's almost like a ritual kind of deal?
If it's country, I pick up the guitar and strum it and sing whatever comes off, you know, on my head, and then I'll go back and write it with a pen. If it's more guitar-oriented stuff, few chemicals and the right combination and get the right hand going out, and the riff is the most important thing, and vocals are the least important thing.
Right on.
In my mind.
Now, there's a band out of Tennessee called Dirty Works, and they have a film coming up. Are you familiar with what that is?
Not yet.
You should definitely check that one out. I think they're familiar with you. A
Okay.
little bit. And then it's Rebel Scum is what it is.
All right. Just an independent movie?
Yeah.
Film.
Yeah. Film.
Okay. All right.
Next up for your tour here, where do you go?
I think we're heading back to Carolina, Raleigh, Asheville, and then we're going up north, Philadelphia, New York, Washington, Boston.
Your favorite venue to play?
There's a lot of different energy out there. Minneapolis, Minnesota's been there for us for over 10 years. And I'd have to say First Ave in Minneapolis has been the most badass crowds and the most loyal.
Right on. Now, the people, do you go hang out with any of them after the shows and stuff like that? Like hang out at people's houses and get wasted at people's houses, or you just kind of chill on the bus? And
I have in the past, but when I'm headlining, I'll have to look for that one person that might want to hang out because of the voice. That's my constant battle. Every day I have to fight for the country voice. And the biggest advice from the doctor is do not speak. Speak when you have to.
Right.
Or I get up there and sound like G.G. Allen when I'm trying to sing country music after a couple of weeks of touring. So the doctor said when I was young, what I'm doing is impossible, and it's starting to show a little bit more, but I do hang certain nights. This is a tour. I only have to play for an hour, so I do get to go out there and make the rounds and drink a little bit and see people that I haven't seen. And once in a while, we've actually gone to a house and set up in the basement and done a show just for kids drinking beer and raising hell. So
right on.
I wish I could party a little bit more, but I have to be reclusive for the stage.
Right. It's a double-edged sword kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, well, maybe you can hang out tonight. I'm a manager of a strip club, so I could probably get you in there if you would like.
I don't like being teased.
Who said
I
it was
take
a
my
tease?
sex seriously.
With all of the stuff that you have going on, with all the stuff that you've done in the past, how do you think, or how would you like to be remembered?
As a kid, that was like, man, that motherfucker would, Jekyll and Hyde. He'd do country, he'd do heavy metal, and he fucking marched to his own fucking beat. He wasn't out there. He could have rode his, daddy's and granddaddy's coattails, but he fucking carved his own way. So that's the main thing.
If I was to look in your iPod right now, what was the last song you listened to, or CD?
On the way out of the door, it was actually a band called Shit out of San Antonio, Texas. And there's, tons of dark stuff, country, hillbilly, all kinds of stuff. So that is the last band I heard walking out.
Right on. Now, what are your plans tonight after you leave this show?
Looking for fun, and then if I don't have fun, I'll hit play on the iPod, have my guitar in my hand, trying to become Randy Rhoads or Tony Iommi as the days go on, and smoke and take something to start going down, go to sleep, wake up, shake it off, do it all over again.
Right on. Now, I heard that you're pretty good friends with Ron Jeremy, and
yes,
I'm actually familiar with him as well on a couple different weird levels.
All right.
Not like that.
Oh, he's a businessman.
Yeah. I heard you got a very unique present from him.
The old fuck machine.
Yeah.
Yes, that is interesting.
You'll have to explain to me and the viewers what that is exactly, because I'm not really even sure what it is.
It's a box that has a motor in it, and you can put, small to huge fucking dongs on it, and it's got a remote control, and it can either go So it's more for like, if you're having sex parties or wanting to fucking have a good conversation piece in your living room that's, better than a coffee table.
Right, it's a paperweight.
A very expensive paperweight. And surprised, you'd be surprised. Go type in fuck machines and see how many pop up on the internet nowadays.
I'll do my best to remember that when I get home. Probably not the first thing I'm looking for on the line, but what did he sign it? What did he say? Like, what was the whole premise for that?
Just an inside joke, I think. We've always had... He got in touch with me at first trying to do a serious movie on a country singer. Mm-hmm. So, it's just a little, here you go. And, Ron's always been a fucking badass guy, and I fucking look up to him as a fucking workaholic motherfucker that has kicked ass, and that business could have gotten the best of him and turned him into something that was really bad, but he's something that's really fucking positive.
Yeah, I can see where you guys get along very well, because he's a true workaholic like yourself. I think that about wraps it up, unless you have anything that you want to talk about.
The last thing I can say is look online for the reinstatement of Hank Williams to the Grand Ole Opry, because he's still not a member, because they still have an impersonator saying, "Welcome to the Grand Ole Opry. It's good to see you dressed up like Hank Williams," but he's not a fucking member. So go to reinstate Hank Williams at myspace.com, and please sign the petition, because we're letting those motherfuckers know that shit ain't right, and we're gonna fucking tear them up.
Absolutely.
So that is that.
Definitely. And they can check you out on your MySpace page and your website, which is?
Hank3.com.
And your MySpace?
I couldn't even tell you.
Google him.
Google. Wikipedia. That's
There
where
you
it's
go.
at.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you once again for Stone Cold TV, brought to you by Jaeger.
Yes.
Ow.
All right, damn it.